everyone who just joined our webinar, Accelerating Compliance with Security Platforms with DORA. Just for some housekeeping issues, and then we'll get officially started in a couple of minutes. This webinar will be uploaded to YouTube, and it'll also appear on our website. And you'll also find on our website a couple of additional assets. There's a DORA paper that we wrote recently that you'll see in a moment on slide 2. Also, you'll notice there's a chat section, should be on your screen. If you have any issues technically, you'll want to put them in there so that our folks who are on the call can help you out with anything that's a challenge. Also, we will be asking for questions that we'll address at the end of the webinar. So we'll not address questions as we're moving through with both of our speakers, but we'll address as many questions as we possibly can at approximately 45 minutes into the webinar. Okay, let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, and the first thing I'd like to do today is I'd like to introduce our two expert speakers, both Volkan and David. David is with us from Softcat, and we really appreciate his participating because he really brings real-world experience with his implementation work of DORA across his customer base. So a little background on David. David is a dedicated cybersecurity professional with expertise in conducting detailed assurance assessments, leveraging advanced adversary simulations, and implementing established security frameworks to protect organizational assets. As a cybersecurity assessor at Softcat, David drives client engagements aimed at enhancing cyber resilience by using industry best practices, including CIS and ISO frameworks. David's unique blend of technical proficiency and auditing background supports his ability to deliver comprehensive security insights tailored to clients' needs. We'll hear a lot more about that as he gets to his slides. His professional history reveals extensive experience in cybersecurity and the sales industry, which has refined his understanding of client management and communication, crucial aspects of guiding organizations through the complexities of cybersecurity. David's past experience in leading sales teams and executing high-level operational projects has also given him a strong foundation in leadership and strategic planning, enabling him to provide practical, actionable recommendations to his clients. We're also joined today by Volkan Evrin. Volkan is on the Picus team. He's also an accomplished information security executive, serving, as I mentioned, as security director at Picus Security. Specializing in CISO roles and strategic leadership, he focuses on governance, risk management, compliance, privacy, and cybersecurity. He excels at aligning security frameworks with organizational objectives to drive resilience and business success. He's also the president of the Osaka Ankara chapter and a part-time instructor at Bilkent University. With extensive experience in executive management, Volkan has a proven record of implementing robust governance structures, leading risk assessments, and ensuring compliance with complex regulatory environments. He is adept at managing enterprise-wide cybersecurity programs, fostering collaboration across teams, and providing strategic oversight to protect organizational assets in a rapidly evolving threat landscape. I think you'll agree that we're really charmed to be joined by these two gentlemen who will walk us through DORA. I'm going to hand the baton over to Volkan. I'll move you to slide 3.
Okay. Thank you, Philip, for the opening. And hello, everyone. And thank you so much for your joining today's sessions. It's a great to have so many of you here talking and this discussion about the DORA, the Digital Operational Resilience Act. Now, if you are working on financial services, or even if you are just in cybersecurity space, you have probably heard about the DORA by now. It's shaping up to significant regulations, and with its 2025 deadlines coming fast, we need to ready. As a common agenda for all companies, the regulatory landscape in Europe is rapidly evolving to address the growing complexity of cyber threats and the critical needs of the operational resilience. Over the past few years, we have seen a clear focus on the risk management, resilience, and accountability. Generally, the latest cybersecurity regulations in Europe share common goals in improving the cybersecurity and operational resilience of organizations or any companies. As you know, GDPR has emphasized the needs for robust security measures to protect the personal data, while primarily focus on the data privacy, including reporting any security incident involving the personal data breach. While focusing on the data protection and privacy, GDPR ties directly into operational resilience. If your security fails and you suffer a breach, you need to be able to respond quickly, report, and prevent further damage. Exactly what DORA also focused on in its risk management and reporting requirements. Similarly, Cybersecurity Act introduced a certification framework for ICT products, ensuring that security is embedded from the design phase and continues through the production and maybe customer relation. And the other one, the AI Act, artificial intelligence, and proposed framework for the IoT security, and also gaining momentum, signaling to Europe's intent to create a comprehensive digital security ecosystem. And of course, everybody knows the NIS2 directive, the Network and Information Security Directive, version 2 especially focuses on improving the overall cybersecurity posture of essential services across the European Union countries. Regulations like NIS2 have expanded the cybersecurity obligations for essential and important entities across the sector, like energy, healthcare, transport, and other things. It emphasizes the risk management and supply chain security, reflecting the interconnected nature of today's digital economy. However, as everybody is following the delays in the implementation schedule, slowness of the regulatory bodies in the countries and the uncertainties are causing everybody to wait with the high stress. Now, turn back to DORA. We can say that European regulations now encompass a broader range of industrial and sectoral specific requirements. DORA, for instance, is tailored for the financial sector, ensuring the financial entities can withstand and recover from ICT-related disruptions. While each regulations has specific objective, they collectively aim to enhance the resilience, improve the incident management, and strengthen accountability across the board. This creates a more unified regulatory framework, but also increase the complexity of organizations operating in multiple sectors, different business domains. IT-oriented leaders generally don't like the compliance, audit, and regulatory requirements, and there are a lot of bureaucratic details. As an InfoSec guy, I always like working on the other hand, the compliance subjects. But nowadays, compliance with these regulations is no longer a technical exercise. It's a strategic priority. For this perspective, we can focus on two main domains like the resilience and continuity. The organizations are required to not only secure their system, but also ensure they can maintain the critical operations during the disruptions. This means re-evaluating the business continuity plans and integrating cybersecurity into overall risk management frameworks. The other one is transparency and reporting. There is a greatest point in instant reporting and governance. Regulators expect organizations to provide timely, accurate information about the instance, which requires robust reporting system and clear internal communication process. Of course, organizations often face overlapping regulatory demands, especially if they operate in multiple domains or different jurisdictions. I know and live this reality currently. Today, aligning these requirements without duplicating effort is a significant challenge. The other big challenge is third-party risks. The increasing reliance on the third-party vendors, particularly for cloud services or cloud applications, has introduced new layers of complexity. Ensuring that these providers meet regulatory standards is critical for our compliance. And InfoSec and business leaders should focus on the resource allocation also. Striking a balance between the meeting regulatory requirements and maintaining the operational efficiency can be challenging, and especially for smaller organizations with limited resources, time resources, personal staff, and their organizational objectives. At this point, I can say that business owners should adopt a risk-based approach to compliance, prioritize areas that have the greatest potential impact on operational and customer phase operations. The automation and advanced tools can significantly reduce the burden of compliance by enabling the continuous monitoring, streamlining reporting, and proactive risk identification. As you know, the compliance is not just about technical controls. We can not solve all the regulatory issues with ICT controls. It requires organizational buy-in at all levels, all departments, all stakeholders. Leadership must drive a company culture that views compliance as an enabler of trust and business resilience. In fact, the regulatory frameworks like DORA encourage the information sharing among the entities. Collaboration within and across the industries, companies, or regions can help the organizations stay ahead of emerging threats and challenge. The regulations, like the DORA, is just about satisfying the auditor. They are about ensuring the operational stability and maintaining the trust in critical services. By aligning the compliance efforts with broader business goals, organizations can turn these regulatory challenges into opportunities for growth, innovation, and stronger communication with customers and with customer relations. And the key is the approach compliance not a hurdle, but as a strategic investment in the future of your organization. And at this level, maybe we can talk about the DORA's primary goal is very simple, is to ensure that financial entities, as well as their critical third-party providers, can withstand the recovery from ICT-related disruption. And maybe we can touch these main focus areas of these kinds of ICT-related disruptions. This includes the cyber attacks, technical failures, or disruption in the critical services. Financial institutions, including banks, insurance companies, or investment companies, will need to prove they have the necessary measures in place to ensure the business continuity and minimize the risk of systematic impact because the regulation addresses the growing threats to the stability of financial system posed by cyber attacks, disruption, or other operational risk coming from the threats. DORA demands a paradigm shift for financial entities, emphasizing the resilience, transparency, and collaboration. By focusing on DORA's 5 pillars, organizations can strengthen their ICT ecosystem, minimize disruptions, and build trust with regulators, customers, and stakeholders. For example, for pillar 1, the ICT risk management, we should establish a centralized ICT risk management framework integrated into our enterprise risk management process. For this purpose, we can develop the risk register for ICT assets, categorize the risk by severity and their likelihood. deploy some automated tools for continuous vulnerability management, and we can organize regular cyber check, cyber risk workshop, control exercise with cross-functional teams to address the emerging threats. Also, we should build a robust incident response plan aligned with DORA's incident reporting requirements. That's the pillar 2. For example, we can set up centralized CM system to detect the incidents in real time. And maybe we can use standards templates for instant notification, including root cause analysis, impact assessment, and mitigation plans. As a business practice, we should conduct tabletop exercise to train the teams, the related teams, disaster recovery teams or SOC teams, on reporting workflows and regular communications. And the third pillar of DORA is digital operational resilience testing. And for this one, we can implement a continuous testing program that evaluates the resilience of critical system. For this requirement, we can use breach and attack simulation providers like Picus Security to simulate and analyze the potential attack scenarios. Perform annual red team exercise, targeting the critical business applications, ensuring the independent oversight, and of course, validate the disaster recovery plans through simulated outage and recover test for the key systems. And the other one, fourth pillar, we should establish end-to-end process for vendor risk assessment and monitoring for achieving the ICT third-party risk management of DORA. We can conduct security audits of the third-party vendors and create a multi-cloud strategy to minimize the dependency on a single service provider. And last one, the information sharing. This practice amplifies the sector-wide defenses and helps organizations stay ahead of the evolving threats. And we can actively participate in threat intelligence networks and foster information exchange. For example, we can join the platforms like the Financial Service Information Sharing and Analysis Center, that's DORA suggests that, to access and share real-time threat intelligence and develop internal guidelines for sharing anonymized threat data with peers and regulators and maybe partners and stakeholders. And by implementing the threat intelligence feeds for actionable insights for SOC team is a very useful and expected business practice at this level. And also at this point, I can suggest some business practices for CISOs or organizational security managers and business leaders and working towards the DORA compliance. First of all, familiarize yourself within the 5 pillars of DORA, the requirements and upcoming secondary legislation. Because if you understand the regulatory framework, then you can start identifying key areas where your organization may have gaps. By mapping your critical ICT systems and functions, you can understand which systems are most essential to your operations, will help your prioritize where to focus resilience efforts. Of course, you should assess your third-party vendors, especially critical ICT providers, and ensure that their resilience measures align with DORA requirements and that your contracts reflects these obligations. And for test and simulation activities, I suggest to implement a breach and attack simulation solution to test your organization's resilience against the potential cyber threats. For this purpose, Picus can serve this proactive approach to help identify the weaknesses before they can be exploited. And the last point, stay agile and determine the priorities, because we always have limited time and resources, and the CISO should prioritize the most critical areas. Focus first of all on testing, third-party risk management, and incident management. Okay.
Thank you, Volkan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. David, you ready?
I am ready, yes. Thank you very much. So at Softcat, we provide a comprehensive range of cybersecurity services to help organizations achieve operational resilience and align with regulatory compliance and requirements, including DORA. So our approach focuses on integrating people, the process, and the technology to deliver solutions tailored to the unique needs of the customer. In the context of DORA, our services address key pillars such as ICT risk management, operational resilience, incident response by combining consultancy, managed services, and technology implementations. Okay, and some of our portfolio includes managed security operations center, so a 24/7, 365 managed security operations center that provides real-time threat detection, analysis, and response. Managed detection and response services that go beyond alerting for rapid investigation and containment of threats. Threat exposure management, which is our Picus security powered service there, which essentially is a breach and attack service that provides continuous validation of your security controls through attack simulations and real world threat emulation. Okay, it ensures there's a proactive risk mitigation process in place. And as well, we also offer a managed vulnerability service. This helps organizations identify, remediate vulnerabilities across the environment with ongoing vulnerability scanning, reporting, and also prioritization as well. So for us, this holistic approach ensures that organizations can continuously validate their defenses, prepare for incidents, and meet DORA's compliance requirements using Softcat in a modular manner as well. So we can swap and we can interchange the services that we apply depending on the customer's requirements. What are the key challenges organizations face? Okay, so organizations preparing for DORA compliance face several challenges. Okay, and from what we've seen there, these are not extensively included there, but they do include fragmented incident response. So many organizations are struggling with disjointed incident response processes that make it difficult to meet DORA's reporting and response requirements. Okay, we've got third-party risks, managing ICT risks across an extensive supply chain that is complex, especially when vendors operate at varying maturity levels. We've got continuous control validation, so ensuring that the security controls are remaining effective in the face of evolving threats that can be resource intensive without the right tools or expertise. We've got outdated and legacy systems that are currently in our infrastructure there that can create gaps in resilience, they can impact availability and compliance with DORA's ICT requirements. As well as this, we've got resource constraints. So smaller security teams often find it challenging to manage the level of monitoring, detection, and validation required for DORA. How is Softcat addressing these security controls and issues? Okay, so we tackle security controls using a layered approach. Okay, proactive approach that aligns with DORA requirements. So we do assessment and gap analysis. We begin this process by evaluating the organization's existing security controls and identifying gaps in detection, response, and resilience. Our managed vulnerability service plays a critical role here by identifying exploitable vulnerabilities and providing actionable prioritization based on risk. We've got our continuous security control validation. So through our threat exposure management service, which is powered by Picus Security, we continuously validate security control by simulating attack scenarios. This helps organizations identify and address gaps in real time, ensuring that defenses remain effective. We've got real-time threat monitoring. So our managed SOC can provide 24/7 monitoring of security events, detecting and responding to threats across the environment, leveraging advanced threat intelligence and correlation capabilities. We help organizations maintain compliance with DORA's continuous monitoring requirements here. Incident response. We've got a managed detection and response service that ensures rapid detection, containment, and remediation of threats, minimizing downtime, ensuring resilience. We also assist in developing robust incident response playbooks and testing them throughout tabletop exercises and attack simulations using Picus technology. And remediation. So we provide ongoing guidance to address vulnerabilities, strengthen security controls. We're also using insights from our managed services and validation tools to help organizations continuously improve the security posture and the resilience against new threats. So how do security platforms like Picus help? So security platforms like Picus are integral to achieving and maintaining DORA compliance. They provide continuous testing. So the ability to automatically test attack simulations and then validate the effectiveness of your security controls against the evolving threats. Very important. For me, it's a priority to make sure that your security controls are doing what they need to do and that they're configured in the correct way. Prioritize remediation, so clear guidance on addressing gaps, including vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, and incident detection capabilities. Okay, and incident readiness. So simulating real-world attacks, testing the attack paths, and then with a goal to improve incident response processes there. So this forms part of that tabletop exercise, and that's how you can utilize an automated validation tool as well to do this. So if such an incident does occur, you are prepared for it. Okay, and that's essentially what we're doing with these technologies. We are preparing there, so that when the time comes, there our mean time to respond and recover is more efficient than it was previously. DORA alignment, so mapping security gaps to and improvements directly to compliance frameworks, so we can make it easier for organizations to demonstrate readiness. Okay, so by integrating Picus with our managed SOC or our MDR services, we can provide a full stack solution that not only identifies and addresses gaps, but also ensures continuous monitoring, validation, and response. This allows our customers to stay ahead of threats while meeting DORA's stringent requirements. Yes. We'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so in terms of the way that Softcat approach this, there we've kind of got a multifaceted approach essentially of this. So one of the key challenges was a lack of understanding of operational resilience across different teams. The IT teams in organizations, they were not technical in terms of the staffing in the departments, and like vendor management and clients didn't fully grasp the roles under DORA. So creating a disconnection in the preparedness essentially. So the Softcat approach there is that we conducted tailored workshops. They brought down the DORA requirements into actionable insights for each team. And then our team, powered by Picus Security, played a role here by providing detailed reports, attack simulations as well. The reports illustrated how both the vulnerabilities in the systems could lead to disruption, making the risk tangible for both the technical and non-technical teams. For example, we would have an IT team there where we used Picus to generate reports to understand the gaps in their controls, such as misconfigurations or unpatched vulnerabilities, and we'd map these controls to operational risk. So the non-technical teams then, we would focus on how incidents stemming from these vulnerabilities would impact their ability to deliver critical services to meet regulatory requirements. The result was a more informed workforce essentially from this there with clearly defined roles, and it helped maintain the operational resilience. Okay, and the process behind this there is that the organization had a fragmented incident response and recovery plan. Okay, during the previous incident, they struggled with coordinating between departments, and they failed to meet reporting requirements, which would be a compliance issue under DORA. So our approach here is we work closely again with the client to design and implement a business continuity and incident response plan, aligning with DORA. Our threat exposure management service played a critical role in testing these processes. So we used Picus Security attack simulation capabilities to emulate real-world threats and test how their systems and teams would respond to disruption. The simulation identified delays between communication between IT and business teams, which would be addressed by creating a centralized escalation matrix and playbooks for key scenarios. So additionally there, we conducted regular tabletop exercises with the client to ensure these processes were refined and practiced, and the ability to simulate specific attack paths using our TEM service that helped validate the readiness in a controlled environment. So that's a bit on the process there. And the technologies, so where we'd look at this from a technology perspective, the organization had several resilience gaps. Okay, so for instance, they lacked visibility into the systems for detecting lateral movement. Third-party dependencies have been assessed against DORA's ICT risk management requirements, and there were weaknesses in patching critical systems and ensuring redundancy in the cloud infrastructure. So our approach to resolving this this is where our TEM service provided significant value. Okay, so we leveraged Picus Security's attack path validation to continuously test the effectiveness of the security controls, ensuring they were prepared for evolving threats. The TEM service flagged critical vulnerabilities and misconfigurations that could lead to exploitation, enabling the client to prioritize and remediate these in a more effective and more efficient manner. Using the insights from Picus, we worked with their IT teams to improve their monitoring tools and integrate them with their SIEM and SOAR platforms for better incident detection and response. Additionally, we partnered with their third-party vendors to ensure that their services met DORA requirements as well, particularly around incident reporting and service availability. So our technology recommendations supported by Picus Insights helped them address the resilience gaps in their infrastructure while aligning with regulatory compliance and expectations. The result from this, by addressing these people, the process, the technology, the challenges with the help of our threat exposure management program, the organization achieved the following. So it improved workforce alignment with DORA requirements, ensuring everyone understood their roles in the operational resilience. Enhanced incident responding and communication plans that were validated through Picus simulations and regular testing. It was strengthened by the technology stack, closing critical gaps in visibility and patching, and it also monitoring to achieve the compliance with DORA's ICT requirements. And in the end, not only were they prepared for DORA compliance, but they also had a more resilient security posture overall. So the threat exposure management service provided continuous assurance, and it helped them adapt to evolving threats and maintaining readiness for future challenges. Thank you very much. Back over to you, Phil.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Really helpful, especially hearing about. We'll want to ask some additional questions around the tailored workshops, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want to bring Volkan back in to take us to the top to 8:45 or whatever time it is in your zone. So here you go. Thanks.
Okay, thank you again. And DORA emphasized the importance of proactive ICT risk management and operational resilience. Then I think in today's threat landscape, organizations face a lot of different information security risks that require continuous testing and validation to mitigate. As we discussed the DORA pillars and the importance of the operational resilience, now we can say that the Picus security can be a powerful ally in achieving the compliance and enhancing your security posture. Our platforms offers a range of validation tools that can help you proactively test, measure, and improve your security controls, making sure that you are not just compliant, but truly resilient. The cornerstone of any security frameworks is the effectiveness of your security control. With DORA, it's not enough to simply have security controls in place. You need to prove that these controls can stand up to real-world attack. This is where Picus security control validation comes in. By simulating the various types of cyber attacks, Picus security allows you to see how well your existing security controls are working in practice. Whether it's firewalls, or endpoint detection, or intrusion detection systems, our platform will validate that these controls are effective and can handle the kind of threats your organization faces. With financial service increasing to the financial service moving to cloud infrastructure, and cloud security has become one of the top priorities for organizations. However, secure cloud environments can be tricky because the dynamic nature of cloud service means that vulnerabilities can emerge at any time. With Picus cloud security validation, you can test and validate your cloud infrastructure from data storage to access control. Ensure that your cloud environment is secure and in line with best practices. We simulate attacks specific to cloud vulnerabilities, such as misconfigured security groups, insecure configuration, or unauthorized access, providing you with insights you need to strengthen your defenses. And DORA stresses the importance of third-party and cloud provider risk management. By using Picus cloud security validation, you can so ensure that your cloud services are resilient and compliant with the DORA's operational requirement for third-party service providers. And one of the biggest concern in cybersecurity today is how attacker can exploit weaknesses to move through on organizational networks, potential escalation, privileged, and gaining access to sensitive data. Because attack path validation is designed to map out these potential attack paths, helping you identify vulnerabilities in your network before attackers do. With this tool, you can simulate the attacker's movements from the initial point of entry all the way to your most critical assets. This helps you understand exactly where your defense might fail and take proactive steps to block these paths. Additionally, DORA also highlights the importance of operational resilience and reducing the IC-related risk in the pillars. By validating your attack surface, you reduce the overall risk profile of your organization, ensuring that you meet the DORA's security and testing requirements, the points in the pillar 4. And Picus attack surface validation helps you identify to reduce these potential vulnerabilities by mapping and testing the different components of your environment. We look at your public-facing services, internet page, or your internal applications, and even the security of your third-party providers. Our platform helps you identify the areas where you might be exposed or offers actionable insights to minimize those risks. Another key area for DORA compliance is effective instant detection and reporting. DORA mandates that financial institutions must have the ability to detect significant ICT incidents quickly, and this requires solid detection rules within your security system. However, it's not enough to just have detection rules in place. You need to test and ensure that these rules are actually detecting the right instance in a timely manner. And Picus detection rule validation allows you to test the detection mechanism, where it's CM system, IDS, IPS, or any other monitoring tools. We simulate real-world attack scenarios and verify that your detection systems are properly identifying and responding to the incident. And finally, mapping your security controls to the MITRE attack framework is one of the best ways to ensure that your defense are aligned with industry best practices. The MITRE attack framework provides a comprehensive knowledge base of adversary tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs. And Picus helps map your security controls to this framework to assess the coverage and gaps. And of course, at Picus, we believe that proactive security is the key to resilience. And by continuously validating your defense and addressing weaknesses before they can be exploited, we help organizations like yours stay ahead of the curve in both cybersecurity and regulatory compliance. And briefly, test, validate, and optimize your cybersecurity defenses, ensuring that you are always ready for whatever threats may come your way, provides you with the tools and you need to stay resilient, meet the regulatory requirements like DORA, and protect your critical assets. And final verse, as I said, the DORA's goal is simple: to ensure that financial entities like banks, insurance firms, and other fintechs can withstand and recover from ICT-related disruptions, including the cyber incidents. It brings together an integrated approach from risk management to third-party provider oversight, all aimed at improving the sector's ability to bounce back and continue operations in face of challenges. As we are all aware, cybersecurity is not just an IT issue anymore. It's a business continuity issue. DORA is making it clear that resilience is not optional. It's a must-have. By focusing on these 5 core pillars, tackling third-party risk, and investing on proactive testing, CISOs, information security guys, or the other business owners can build stronger, more resilient organization. And thank you for your time. I hope this session has provided valuable insight into DORA and its implementation for your organization. And Philip?
Thank you, Volkan. Thank you, David. So we do have some questions that have come in from our attendees, and Volkan, this first one is really right down your alley. Can the company comply with DORA easily if they are already certified with any industry standards such as ISO 27001, ISO 22301, or PCI DSS? So I know we were talking about this before the webinar in terms of overall preparedness from a compliance standpoint, but if you can answer this question, that would be great.
Yeah. If your company is familiar with the standards, the management system like ISO standards, certification programs, and the other PCI DSS or SOC 2 report structure, you are familiar with the requirement check and control environment in your company. And of course, DORA shows 5 main pillars to comply with your requirements and your business operations. You can map the other certification controls with DORA requirements, and you can easily cover the gaps between the DORA and the other standards, and then you can improve your business resilience and risk management profiles at this manner. But it's a good point to have some certification or follow some management system, and then on DORA side, you can also control the requirements and then filling the gaps and get the DORA compliance easily.
Perfect. And so there's a follow-on question, again, that you and I discussed earlier, and that is, with DORA and other recent regulations like NIS2, how do you see the regulatory landscape evolving, and what are some of the steps that organizations should take to stay compliant while ensuring operational efficiency? I think that's it's interesting to see DORA come online, but also NIS2, and more in the United States, the ISO and NIST, NIST. But I'm wondering if you can address that question. Volkan, yeah.
Okay. And for the other compliance or the other regulations coming from, especially in European side, is support to each other for the comprehensive approach for the compliance manners, because the NIS2 directive is more focused on the general posture of the essential service in the European countries, and the energy sector, healthcare sector, or transport sectors can use these NIS directives inside the company object for company compliance activities. And DORA generally focused on the financial institutions, and it's support to each other, and nobody can reject the NIS directive requirements, or the financial institution especially adopt these kinds of additional legislation or additional regulations, continuously improve their compliance frameworks and their business resilience at this perspective.
Great, thanks, Volkan. David, I'm going to try this one on you, David. Question came in: do you have any guides/recommendations for implementing, executing Picus in smaller businesses? I'm not sure what size businesses your organization works with, but do you have any help that exists for smaller organizations that also do need to comply?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think the Picus tool is actually is geared to any size of an organization, to be quite honest. It's about the workload that comes out of it. That's where the struggle is. The implementation, utilization of Picus and the technology is relatively simple. The workload that comes out of the back end of it, the configuration changes, the management of the findings, and then taking action and mobilizing your internal staff. If you're a small security team, you potentially have to then rely on external service providers such as Softcat or the professional service providers as well to go and make changes where you may not have the skilled resource to do so. That is where the difficulty comes in from what we've previously seen. But again, yeah, it's to utilize Picus. It can be scaled, it's scalable for many size customers. So to create that automated testing, and let's just touch on something here that continuous is subjective. Okay, so what is continuous? Continuous to a large organization might be weekly or monthly. Continuous to a smaller organization would be essentially quarterly. It might even be biannually. It depends on what the workload comes out that they can manage, really. And but you've got to start off with that baseline, and until you do that baseline there and find out what you've got to do next there, then you've just got to utilize that starting point from me.
Great, thank you, David. I'm wondering if we can show there was a request to see where folks could get information, specifically the DORA site. I'm wondering if we can show that on the screen so that folks can take a screenshot of it. We're not seeing. Yeah, I'm wondering if you can show the answer to that. Yeah, I don't see it. So Pramod, you should have received that, but if not, we'll get in touch with you to make sure you have that. Follow on for David. You had mentioned, and this correlates to the previous question, you had mentioned tailored workshops, and I wondered if you could give us a little bit more structure on how those work, because there may be some interest, especially as we're so close to the deadline here, that an organization might want to have a quick workshop to gain an understanding of where they perhaps stand from a readiness perspective.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of like getting something booked in with ourselves nowadays, we are relatively quite, well, we are substantially booked up in terms of workshops that we're committed to doing already. However, the way that they would work there is that we would conduct virtual workshops. We've got virtual CISOs, we've got governance, risk and compliance experts within the team that can easily assess and address the issues that a client may have within a scoping call, and then provide some information on how best to move forward from that. So we can have scoping calls with organizations, and we can understand that there, whether we can do something by the 17th of January. Right now, there is questionable is what I would say there, but yeah, we are always here to help. So if anybody feels like getting in touch there, I'm sure that our details will be shared at the end of this, and so you can reach out to us.
Great, thank you, David. This one is more for Volkan. Testing and validation are critical under DORA, especially for ICT risk management and operational resilience testing. How can Picus help organizations ensure that their security controls remain effective in the evolving threat landscape? So it's more a continuous basis. How do they make sure that those controls remain effective?
Sure. And most of the security guys or system administrator design and implement the security posture, controls, and their working environment, and controls as possible as the activities on this live system. But sometimes depends on the criticality of the system, sometimes the complexity of the usage or business needs. You can check externally this system is configurations are valid or system is resilient to the current attacks. And of course, your human errors or some systematic configuration mistakes should be tested and validated during the operations, daily work, or the continuous validation approach. And Picus platforms give some opportunities to continuously validate your environmental posture and also security infrastructure with the advanced techniques and current real-time attacks. And this shows your current profile is good enough to be resilient to the exploiting the system or current attacks that affect your information system infrastructure also.
Great, thank you. Here's a follow-on for you, Volkan. In your view, which pillar poses the most significant challenge for organizations, and what practical advice do you give CISOs to address
In my opinion, and the general approach is focusing on the third-party risk management, for my opinion, because you can control your own infrastructure with your team and with your business practices, but the third-party side, you should trust the third parties vendors and their operations, their infrastructure, and you should always control the cloud security requirements and also third-party or vendor approach, and you should be familiar with the third-party risk in current trade landscape, and you should be focused on the third-party risk management, especially with the attack surface management and cloud security approach.
Great, thank you. I don't have any more questions at the moment, so we can probably move to close out the webinar. I do want to encourage folks to, if there are additional questions that occur to you over the next few days, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to either re-involve David. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer a question or two, as would Volkan. I can be of some help and look forward to hearing from you. Really appreciate your attendance today. Hope you found the information useful. Again, look for this webinar on YouTube as well as on our website. Again, if there are any issues that come to mind, please don't be shy. Thanks so much for your time, and thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.